This episode is brought to you by Phill Hanlon and Whitehead-Ross Education. A master therapist, Phill Hanlon's passion is helping people of all walks of life get out of pain. The pain of their past, the pain of their doubts, and the pain of their limiting beliefs. Phill has a consulting room in Cardiff and works there or online with clients here in the UK and overseas as well. As someone who has always been fascinated by why people stop themselves from living up to their true potential, Phil's work frees them from their chains, allowing them to freedom to follow their dreams and goals. With a master's in the three specific areas: NLP, which means neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. Phill is also a practitioner in Hanlon as well. You will find out more on his website, phillhanlon.com. Whitehead-Ross Education is an education and social welfare organisation. Founded in 2012, they deliver a variety of high-quality skills-related programs and social services provision. Their programs include supported for the unemployed individuals to retain a secure job, vocational training programs, adult education and social services provision. Since starting in 2012, they have now supported over 11,500 individuals. Their existing clients include local authorities, the Department for Work and Pensions, and Education Skills Funding Agency. They have locations throughout Wales and England, including Merthyr Tydfil, Swansea, Neath Port Talbot, Newport, Bridgend, Brighton, Gosport, Worthing, Swindon and Weymouth. A full list and more details are available by visiting their website at www.wrecltd.co.uk, and you can also follow them across their major social media platforms. Now, let's get on to the episode. But before we do that, hello, Future Jordan here. I just need to talk to you about something from our good friends over at the Full Spectrum Project. Full Spec is back for its 15th instalment of Merthyr's longest running night, bringing you the best Merthyr has to offer. May the 18th has an awesome lineup, headlined by Edith, an amazing electronic soul artist. It's the acts like Paul Carpenter, Georgia Griffiths and Rachel Stevens that keep us going back for more, because the talent that this local community has to offer is incredible. Also, we need you, yes you, to go and support the Scala, which is an amazing venue to hold this show-stopping event. So get down to the party, 18th of May in the Scala. Tickets are available from citizentickets.com, and we will see you there. No, sorry, I won't butt you in anymore. Or maybe I will. Just one more. Now, enjoy the episode.
Hello there, welcome to another episode of Just One Man Podcast. We're back in Iron Dragon, and we are joined by the multi-talented Bryony Sier. Bryony, thank you very much.
Hello.
For coming.
Why do you say hello?
I don't know. Well, it's
Oh yeah. I mean, that's, yeah.
A singer, a songwriter, an author, an artist, a mental health advocate. There's no many hats that you don't wear, and you are partially to a hat as well. I see lots of photos of you in various hats, so I know you're a fan of hats. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I've kind of followed your career from afar for quite a while. I remember probably 2017, 2018, I think the first time I would have seen you perform live. It's a real talent, and I think that's first and foremost something that needs to be acknowledged. But then also you've got a real grounded quality to you, and I'd really like to thank you for being willing to come on and share your story.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. So in terms of the music, I suppose let's start at the music.
Yeah.
It's a massive part of your life, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
In terms of when you started, I read you were essentially taught by your auntie.
Yeah.
From a young age. How did that develop to you starting to write your own music and that type of thing?
Well, I used to see my auntie writing songs, and I used to think they were amazing, and it really inspired me to start writing. I think the first song I ever wrote, it was called Just Dream, and it didn't make any sense. And it was just like something about your stomach churning.
Okay.
I might have been describing anxiety, but who knows?
Yeah.
So I feel like, I kept writing, and a lot of the first stuff I started writing was like gibberish, basically. But it still felt so good to express myself, really, when I really struggled verbally sometimes to do that. So I kept writing, kept learning guitar, finding my feet with it, and then it's just been part of my life ever since, really.
Yeah, because you've got quite a unique style. You've got a style that's very familiar, but it's very unique. It's very you, in terms of, things like the finger picking, guitar work, those kind of ethereal vocals, which, dare I say, are kind of reminiscent of a kind of a young Stevie Nicks.
Big fan of it.
and there are certain songs, most definitely, where you can hear these influences. So what kind of musical influences did you have, aside from obviously being brought up in a family which I can imagine was full of music as well?
Yes. So I've always loved music from a young age, and I remember my mum, she used to play a lot of like songs on the little cassette tapes.
Yeah.
The best. And I used to just love music, and I just liked up whenever I heard it. And then I just started listening to Johnny Cash.
Okay.
And as a kid, I did not like him, because not him, but his music.
Right.
Because a man named Sue.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, who's Sue? And why is this relevant to me? So basically, I didn't like his music, and me and my brother would laugh all the time. But then as an adult, I'm like, I was missing out. I mean, that was a cracking song.
Okay.
And my stepdad then, he introduced me to like Neil Young,
Okay.
Neil Diamond, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac. I mean, I love all types of music, and it's just really inspired me. Music just follows me everywhere. It follows us all everywhere, and it's always been an escape. Definitely.
It's kind of like when you said this music follows everyone, but it takes two certain people that actually love music.
Yeah.
So like, there's music playing everywhere, but whatever, like you said, if it's the Eagles, for instance, and there's somebody in their 20s, they're not. But then if they've been brought up listening to that when they were younger, like me and like yourself, and I'm guessing like you, and I don't know about you, Josh, but
Do you know the Eagles are?
yeah.
Can you name 3 Eagles songs?
But no, and it's like, and it's brilliant that when you say that you've listened to all them different ones, and now you've come out and you're starting doing your own journey in music is brilliant. Really is good. And we witnessed, I witnessed you for the first time when we went to Phill Spec.
Yeah.
What number was it?
Was it 13?
Yeah.
13 was the first Phill Spec I went to.
And I was just blown away by your music. Really was.
Thank you very
great.
much.
Yeah. Well, I remember saying to you, didn't I? Because as soon as I clocked you, and I thought, oh, well, maybe she's just you. What? And then I saw the guitar, and I was like, no, she's playing.
Yeah.
And I remember saying,
it was multiple guitars.
Wait for this. Yeah, you did, didn't you?
I feel very awkward, because I take like 3 guitars to every gig, and my stepdad was saying to me, he's like, Bri, why do you need all these guitars? I'm like, you can never have enough.
No.
And also, I feel like I'm in different tunings all the time, and make it really awkward.
And as a Bruce Springsteen fan, there is a song on one of his latest albums called "The House of a Thousand Guitars," so it's there for a reason.
I didn't know that existed, so I will check that out.
It's there for a reason. I'm a big Johnny Cash fan, but I went kind of the back road into Johnny Cash. So my father, again, I was brought up in a house with so many different types of music. I had, my father listened to a lot of stuff from the 50s and the 60s. My mother listened to what I called ironing music, which was Celine Dion and Eternal and things like that, and power ballads. My auntie gave me my first Metallica album, and that changed the game considerably. But I remember Johnny Cash, my first kind of foray into listening to him was actually the later albums. When he was older, he was stripped back and he was doing a lot of the covers. And I think Hurt was the first song that I heard, and then I kind of went back and listened to Ring of Fire and Walk the Line and all those type of ones. But I 100% agree in that music is just one of those things. My watch when
Siri
is always
Siri wants to get involved.
Siri's everywhere. Siri's on my phone. See, this is it's not live, but it's as close to live as we'd guess. So yeah, rather technology. But yeah, I totally get that. That kind of music is a constant.
Yeah, and he was the best storyteller, because that's something like as a child I obviously didn't realize, was that the best stories were in like those songs. Like he really like sang from his heart, and I just love it. It's raw and real. And I thought it was blinking great, to be honest.
Yeah, and and even this morning, because I know it's mad because he passed away over 20 years ago now. Just really aged myself because I remember him dying. But they've released an unreleased track today, and it's called "Well, All Right." And as you said, he is just a storyteller, because the song is about him going to a laundry mat kind of shop, and meeting a woman and then offering to do a washing for her. And then them eventually going on a date, but it's this way of
song.
Yeah, it's this way of being relatable and telling stories, and I think that's what I always kind of connected with as well. So when you talk about music and you talk about telling stories, how much of you is in your music? In terms of your stories, your experiences, is it very much that you tend to write about you, or is it kind of things that you're aware of, or?
It can be a mixture of things, but I think mostly it's about things I've been through. And what I'm finding now in my gigs, I'm actually being open about it, and it's nerve-wracking because you don't really know how people are going to react, or they might be thinking, oh, come on, get on with it. But I just think, well, if this reaches somebody, one person, because I felt so alone, like at one point, and I thought, is anybody else feeling the same way? Because things like, like anxiety and stuff, that was never spoken about when I was in school. I didn't even know what that meant. And, I think, well, if there could be somebody in this crowd that really needs to hear a message. Yeah. And if it means putting myself on the line in a sense, then I'm going to do it regardless. And you just don't know who it could.
But I think sometimes you feel better for doing it for yourself anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
In that situation, you're going to be, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And that person could be out there and they need it.
Yeah.
And if not, then I know I've done my bit to just try and help.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's so important to kind of talk about that sort of anxiety, depression these days, because again, like you said, it hasn't been taught. I don't think it is still being taught very, very much in schools these days. And we've just got to take any opportunity to get it out there.
Yeah.
And even if it is 10 minutes of your set talking about what you've gone through, then so be it. And if nobody likes it, then oh well.
Yes, I always say tough totties, tater tots, which is from New Girl.
Right. Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen New Girl, which I know is like swearing at you, because I know you're a huge New Girl fan.
Yes, I am.
But no, I haven't seen it myself.
It's really funny.
I'll add it. I think my wife fans. I'm sure Abby's watched it. Because we obviously have our own Netflix.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to watch all the true crime and random documentaries and stuff like that.
Josh doesn't know what Netflix is. I doubt to drive it, so go watch telly. I could just turn on Sky.
In my head, it's still got one of those old tellies from when I was a kid where you have to get up and press the button to change the channel.
Or the remote is in the actual telly. You take it.
Yeah, literally just got the 4 channels.
Class.
Them
were the days, eh?
Wow. Hey, I remember.
Over the aerial.
I remember it well. I remember it well moving the aerial.
Yeah, you're old, that's why.
It's the same way as people used to go like this for like 4 weeks to try and get signal. Crazy.
That was a good tangent.
It was. But we're known for it.
Yes,
we're known for it. In terms of kind of what's next for you musically, because we're talking about someone who has released EPs and singles, and you've been playing live for a good few years, and you've managed to support artists like Top Loader. Amongst many others, I think Rick Wakeman was on the list I saw.
Yeah, I was 16, I think.
And you played pretty
17.
much every festival and every type of audience. What's kind of next for you musically?
At the moment, I'm in a bit of a pickle.
Right.
To put it, bluntly. I've been on the circuit for a long time. I've been doing this for years, and I've been playing a lot of shows and getting confident in what I'm doing. Obviously, self-doubt creeps in all the time, but I love it. It's my entire world is music. I live and breathe it. But I feel like things have gone very quiet, and it's very alarming for me because I like to keep busy. And obviously before COVID and everything and the lockdown and everything like that, like I was gigging all the time. And then everyone had to kind of start back up again, really, after that. So I am releasing an album, my first album, and it's taken 3 years to write it. Not 3 years to write it. I had all the songs, but it's just been a long time to get them all done. But I feel like good things take time. And this album is literally everything I've ever felt in my entire life is in it.
Yeah.
Everything I've gone through to this point is on this album. And I can never say I'm proud of myself for nothing, but I'm proud of this album.
Okay.
And I'm releasing it very soon. I have got music videos to film. Yeah. We filmed 2, and there's one called Telephone, and we've had to go to all the telephone boxes in Wales. Wow. Which has been a journey. Wow. So we still got 1 day left to shoot in, and it's just been awesome. It's been fun and different and getting more comfortable on a camera as well. I feel someone else shooting the film, if I vlog, I'm doing it myself, and But I'm just really hoping now that this new music, I'd love to get it played on the radio, and my dream is to get A-listed, because I've never been A-listed, or even if it's a C-list. C-list to A-list, I'll be a happy chappy.
So that's the aim.
That's the aim, yes. I think that's the aim.
And obviously, in terms of the album, can you divulge the title at this point?
Yes. So, the title of the album?
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
You don't know. Okay. You're just going to wing it.
I'm winging it.
If there's anybody watching or listening that thinks that they want to check their title suggestions in, pop them in the comments. No, that I kind of like that though, because
it's class.
It's like you said, it's you and it's organic, and it's going to be what it's going to be. But what it's going to be is going to be appropriate. No matter what it ends up being, it's going to be appropriate. Yes. And I think the whole kind of going round every phone box in Wales.
That's
That
brilliant.
is absolutely
They're getting adopted. Like, why? They're brilliant. Like, they're so good.
And it's only now that you've said that I can't remember the last time I saw a phone box.
There's one on Troy Hill, the middle of Troy Hill. It's got no phone in it whatsoever. It's been hit by about 15 cars when it's been stolen, and it is battered.
There's one there, is there?
Yeah, I think so.
Check it out. Add that to the list.
It's absolutely battered.
Because there's nothing with it. Because there's one in Troy Drew.
Yeah,
We've used that one.
There used to be one on the Hoovers Road. There used to be one there.
Yeah, that's right.
There used to be one there. There used to be one in Abercarnet, opposite the Richards pub. But it's as I said, years ago you could go in and it wouldn't be far from a phone box. Even though you'd always hear the people, I used to walk 5 miles from a phone box. I was like, well, I could walk from Abercarnet down to Bark and it's free. But I would have the money. No, I wouldn't have the money, so I could make phone calls. Well, I think that's awesome. I think it's and this again, and it's this evolution of you as a performer. Because you've already got music videos. You've got a ton of music videos.
Yes.
But I think it's like you said, kind of having the album, being an album selling artist, as well. I obviously I think I speak for us all when I say that we wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that it'll be great. I'm guessing there will be a tour to accompany the album.
Well, I hope so, because the thing is, at the minute I haven't got many gigs coming in, so I'm gonna have to really put myself out there now. It's time to stop holding myself back and just go for it. Because this is essentially what I want to do. And it's all I've ever wanted to do. And I've been in jobs and I've just been like so unhappy, just thinking like, this is just not me. And when I'm on stage, I belong. Like, it's just a whole other feeling. I never thought I'd belong on stage because I got terrible stage fright and anxiety and everything. But when I'm up there and I connect with the people and I'm telling a bit of my story and someone might come on to me afterwards and said, that really helped me. How did you overcome this? I said, well, I'm not through it yet, really, but I'm getting there slowly. But that's rewarding.
Yeah, I feel
if you belong on stage.
Yeah. And if that isn't the self-sell
to
all you guys who are listening or watching and own a club, own a pub, or have singers.
Or an arena. Literally.
Yeah. Honest.
Because you'd be no stranger to a bigger stage, because you played on big stages in front of lots of people. It's just that kind of step, as you said, from being that here to being there, which is, and obviously it's incredibly tough. I can only imagine.
It's so competitive, and obviously the music industry now is not so much about music in a sense; it's about everything else as well. And if you haven't got the streams, if you haven't got, I don't know, the fan base, like it kind of, it's a lot. Yeah. It's really a lot.
It always blows my mind when I don't get to spend or speak to many songwriters, but it always blows my mind. Where the hell do you start when you're writing a song? Like, if you've got it in your mind, yes, but then putting pen to paper and going, right, I've got to think of a chorus, 3 verses. Where do you begin doing that?
I think I've always written my songs in 2s. I can't explain it, but basically, they say to do it in like a format. So do the verse, the bridge, chorus, the second verse, the middle 8, like stuff like that. But I've always kind of just literally written and not thought about it too much, because I think otherwise it could be very overwhelming. But I always come up with the melodies first. Sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes it might be like 12 o'clock midnight now, the worst time ever, and a full song will play in my head, a song I've never heard, and I'm like, this has got to be, I've got to record this somehow. So I just put it on my voice memos, and then I leave it. Sometimes I forget about it, or sometimes it's just too late, and I can't really record it because everyone's sleeping, and I'm going to wake them up. But why does it happen so late? Yeah. Like, why couldn't that happen at 3 o'clock or something? It's just like really annoying. But I I think when I write a song, it usually is in twos. And I don't know why. It just happens.
That's very interesting.
So are you all self-taught, or did you have lessons on how to write songs or music lessons, etc.?
I just started writing them. Again, I think my auntie, seeing her write songs, I always thought, wouldn't it be really cool to write your own song? That'd be really fun. So I think that inspired her really, seeing her do that. And then, I think it's come natural, I guess.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And hopefully my writing has improved as the years have gone on, because let me tell you, I don't know why I laughed like that. That was evil. So the old stuff was, like I said, just gibberish.
Well, something that's not gibberish, when you talk about writing things, these are your books.
Yes, they are.
And you're an author as well.
Yes.
There's not much you can't do. If you
Can't play football.
Well, I can't play football. Maybe today, but I host a successful podcast. But no, all jokes aside, you can get on a stage in front of however many people, and whether it's you or whether you're a version of yourself on stage, but it's your music and your words, and then these are, in my opinion, the next evolution and the next strand. Yeah. So obviously the one of these isn't actually out yet.
Yes.
It isn't out, which is this one here, which is The Opposite Effect, which is book 2. But book 1 very much is out, which is From Opposite Sides. For starters, how did you get to the point where you're like, do you know what, I'm going to write a book?
Good question. Well, I think I was 12 and I was like, I hated school, and I think I was looking for an escape, and I kind of found music, so that was great. I was one escape done. Great stuff. Channeled all my energy into that. Then I decided, you know what? I want to write. And as a child, I used to write books as well. They were terrible. And again, they made no sense. But I thought, why not? Just start something. So I just wrote loads of stuff down. That took 12 years. So it's been a long time coming, really. And it took 12 years because I was huffing and ahhing, thinking, how was it going to end? And I decided to completely rewrite it during lockdown.
Start again.
Okay, starting again.
I started completely again, which I was like, no. And my mum, she's read every single draft. I think I dedicated to her. At the very start of the book, I make a dedication to my mum to say, you basically wrote this book with me. Because, well, she read every draft going.
It would take you 12 years to read it.
Probably.
They shouldn't be cruel, but this is just so easy to do.
Stop it. It's like a Monday night, yeah.
So, for those people who may not be aware, how would you kind of sell, this is your elevator pitch moment, how would you sell
selling spot
The Opposite Sides kind of series of books?
This never gets easier. I try to think of Dragon's Den.
Okay.
I love Dragon's Den. And when someone goes on there and they just they give their pitch and it's awesome. Some of them are awesome. I'm not good at that.
That's fine. That's fine. What's the story about? For someone that wanted to know what the story of, for example, book 1, what would you say, this is what it's about? I wanted to read my book.
So it's about a girl who's a teenager, Sky Clemens, and she's basically a college student, and her mother suffers with depression, so she's had to kind of care for her mother in a sense. And then she basically, her landlord is not happy with her and her mother because they owe rent and it's overdue. So the mother didn't pay the rent the month before. So then, and the landlord's horrible as well. And Sky feels like, I'm going to have to get a job. to be able to support my mother and keep a roof over our heads. So she gets a part-time job working in a stables. She doesn't like horses, so that's not really a good start. She doesn't expect to get the job, but she does. And then that starts this journey of her working for her nemesis's father, and she doesn't tell him. So it's a bit awkward, and he's not really like happy with her towards the end of the book when he finds out. I don't know if that's a reveal, I don't know. But it's also a matter of, it's like a Montagu's Capulet thing going on in the classroom, because rich students come to her college class and they invade her class. So it's like they've got to work together, poor and rich students. And there's this one boy called Grayson Swain, and he is like the most annoying person ever. And they just clash. They don't get on, and he calls her the class viper. So a lot happens. It's very dramatic, and I think every chapter is just like something's happening. And yeah, I think there's a big twist, and she kind of finds out who her father is, and she's never known who he is. So yeah, it's like, I hope that's described it well.
Now, considering that you didn't think you'd do very good in Dragon's Den, I don't know about you two. I'd happily read that. I would happily read that. I think it's I think it's got all the hallmarks of a great story, and the fact that you've identified that there's a nemesis. Yeah. Well, I think every story needs a nemesis.
Oh, they do. It's so much fun to write.
Mine is Josh.
It's not greatly few there.
It's not really. But yeah, so in terms of book 2, bear in mind that this episode will be probably out in really May
2024.
Yeah,
or 25
of this year.
Yes.
When can people expect to see book 2 out?
7th of June.
7th of June.
Oh, you've plenty of
time.
Yes.
You've plenty of time.
I'm also having a book launch.
Okay.
I had one last year, went really well, and I wasn't expecting the turnout, but a lot of people came to support. It was really nice. And I'll also be playing live music as well. Nice. So it'll be a mixture of books, cake. I might even chuck a quiz in. But then again, if people haven't read the first book, they're not going to know it.
Well,
sorry, that wasn't in a thought, and I just shouted.
That's all right. I'll be honest, you sold me a cake.
It is.
If I'm being totally honest.
It's a lush cake as well, let me tell him.
Where and when is your launch?
It's in Park Arts in Treforest, and it's I think it's a 7.
It may be.
But we finalise.
So we let you know. That's fine. And do you see the opposite sides and the opposite series kind of continuing for a number of books, or do you think it's going to be a trilogy, or do you see it being one of these like a James Patterson type thing where he, or like Lee Child, where he just keeps adding words on? How much do you think you've got in the tank for the opposite series?
Well, I started writing the 3rd one, and it's a spin-off.
Okay.
So I was really sad, because when I wrote the 2nd book, I was almost crying because I had to say goodbye to my main character. Okay. I'll never write from her perspective again. And I get really attached to my characters. And the thing is, I don't want to break away from these books now, because I'm so deeply invested in them. I know my characters so well. They're like my little fictional family, and I can't let them go. So I think I'm going to have to keep it going. But the thing is, it does drain the life out of me.
Just keep it going.
So
I'm going to keep writing, but it is killing me from the inside. No, but that's what I was going to say about the connection that you have, because even when you were describing the first book, you can see from the way you're describing the character that these are all fully formed people who have been created out of not only imagination, but I imagine at some point some real people have kind of crept in certain parts.
And situations and like seen as you've grown up, and them situations are probably in the book as well, and it's all added in, and it's like you're so invested in it, then you just want more all the time.
Definitely.
So
So the first one took 12 years to write.
Mm-hmm.
What about the second one?
12 months.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it because you were in a sort of, you're on a roll, you've done that, and that one was probably already locked in when you were writing your first one, I would imagine.
Well, I didn't even want to write a second one. I put all my books in a hat. Oh, no.
I said she likes that.
I was saying in misery putting books in a hat, and I was like, how does that work? No, I scribbled them up on a piece of paper, put them in a hat, jingled it about, and I picked one out. And I was like, my mum was like, you should write the second book. I said, I can't do it, ma'am. I was like, I can't. And then, what's the first one I pick out? From Opposite Sides 2. So I thought, I gotta do it.
That's fate. That's fate, is it?
I'm glad I didn't know.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and these are, well, obviously the second will be available, but this is available, I would guess, on Amazon and everywhere else, so you can get a book.
Yes.
So yeah, go and pick it up.
Yes,
Go
definitely.
and pick it up. It's out there to be read, so go and read it, including you.
You'll have to read it to me if that's right.
We'll do it over the course of a few weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my
I can't read.
days.
I'm not bad. Cheapers.
Cheapers.
This episode is brought to you by Phill Hanlon and Whitehead-Ross Education. A master therapist, Phill Hanlon's passion is helping people of all walks of life get out of pain. The pain of their past, the pain of their doubts, and the pain of their limiting beliefs. Phill has a consulting room in Cardiff and works there or online with clients here in the UK and overseas as well. As someone who has always been fascinated by why people stop themselves from living up to their true potential, Phil's work frees them from their chains, allowing them to freedom to follow their dreams and goals. With a master's in the 3 specific areas, NLP, which means neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy and hypnotherapy. Phill is also a practitioner in Hanlon as well. You will find out more on his website, phillhanlon.com. Whitehead-Ross Education is an education and social welfare organisation. Founded in 2012, they deliver a variety of high-quality skills-related programs and social services provision. Their programs include supported for the unemployed individuals to retain a secure job, vocational training programs, adult education and social services provision. Since starting in 2012, they have now supported over 11,500 individuals. Their existing clients include local authorities, the Department for Work and Pensions, and Education Skills Funding Agency. They have locations throughout Wales and England, including Merthyr Tydfil, Swansea, Neath Port Talbot, Newport, Bridgend, Brighton, Gosport, Worthing, Swindon and Weymouth. A full list and more details are available by visiting their website at www.wrecltd.co.uk, and you can also follow them across their major social media platforms. Now, let's get on to the episode. But before we do that, hello, Future Jordan here. I just need to talk to you about something from our good friends over at the Full Spectrum Project. Full Spec is back for its 15th instalment of Merthyr's longest running night, bringing you the best Merthyr has to offer. May the 18th has an awesome lineup, headlined by Edith, an amazing electronic soul artist. It's the acts like Paul Carpenter, Georgia Griffiths and Rachel Stevens that keep us going back for more, because the talent that this local community has to offer is incredible. Also, we need you, yes you, to go and support the Scala, which is an amazing venue to hold this show-stopping event. So get down to the party, 18th of May in the Scala. Tickets are available from citizentickets.com, and we will see you there.
So, you kind of alluded to your own struggles, your own kind of issues with anxiety and kind of not being in a great headspace. Do you mind going into that a bit more and kind of and explaining kind of what mental health looks like for you personally?
Yeah. So when I was in school, I wasn't treated very nice. And, a lot of people put me down and criticised me, judged me and belittled me. And I became very small and mute. I didn't talk to people because I didn't feel like I had a voice. And it really affected me. when I left school, I thought, oh, happy days, I'm out of this prison. And then it wasn't what I expected, because basically I had so many issues I didn't even know I had until I left. And then they were all screaming at me at once, and I just couldn't cope with it. I wasn't expecting it, and I expected people to be horrible to me when I was in college, and when they weren't initially, I became my own bully in a sense. So I feel like the mental health issues definitely started in school, but then it just got worse as I went on. And then I'd say it got worse when I left, in a sense, because I didn't realise how constricted I was. And then I started to look in the mirror quite a lot, and I didn't really know what it was, but like everyone would be like, oh, Bryony's looking in the mirror again, or Bryony's going to the toilet again. I go to the toilet so many times, mirror checking. It was a thing I was doing. It was part of my routine, and it was like an itch type of thing. And I didn't know what that feeling was. I felt disgusting, ugly, and I started to see like images of myself in my head of like my neck shrinking and my face distorting and stuff, and it was really bad. And I felt so confused, and I went to the doctors and they just keep saying it's anxiety. But then I found this thing online that said body dysmorphic disorder, and that word itself just like jumped at me, and I just couldn't stop crying when I read what it was, and it was everything I felt was that, basically. So yeah, it was really bad. I started wearing scarves in the summer because I was very conscious of my neck. I wear turtlenecks now because I'm conscious of my neck, and I feel like maybe it's linked to school as well, because a boy once said to me, what's wrong with your neck? And he was like saying, you've got like an Adam's apple and stuff like that. And I never even noticed that before. So I feel like a lot of the things they said impact me a lot. I took it on board, and yeah, I had a lot of issues because of it.
Well, I think first of all, thank you very much for sharing that. I think you're incredibly strong, incredibly brave, and you're a better person than anybody could ever be. And if anybody is watching, you know you are, in fact, yourself, in the nicest way. Because we don't do bullies on this show. We and Josh having a bit of banter back and forth, but there's a line. I don't do bullies. I hate bullies. Well done. Smashed it. Yeah.
Again, going back to school and the stigma then around different body types, shapes, sizes. It's still not there now. And if somebody's got a different thing to what that person has, then that's a beeline for them to make.
Yeah.
To make things to you, like, you know, name calling then. And I think it is awful, and unfortunately a lot of kids have gone through it, and never had the chance to kind of speak about it, you know. Sorry. And like when I was growing up, like I've said before in episode 1, the Incredible Sulk, which we can laugh at now.
We can laugh.
Yeah. But I had massive ears, so I was called FA Cup ears, or FA Cup head. I was big hands. I had warts on my hands, so I was called Warthog. All sorts. And it's just, then people who kind of said that to me, I still talk to them, but you know, it's just not the same.
Oh, you never forget.
Oh, you
never forget.
No.
You know, you may forgive to a point because you think, well, it's them, they're ignorant.
Yeah.
I don't think you forgive. I forget.
No, what I mean is that you kind of look at them and it's like a sense of pity. It's like, is that how you get through your day?
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's what they do.
Yeah, and in terms of like, is that all you've got to do is to pick apart what you feel are my shortcomings because maybe you don't want to address your own. Because it's always, because 9 times out of 10, a bully is about as imperfect a person as you'll find, but they just do a lot of that. They're better at pushing onto the nicer people in life,
and they've always got to do it in front of people as well.
Yes,
it's like them being a person,
and it's deflecting the attention off them because they've possibly got a massive issue that they don't want people to
issues to everyone else,
and to the bullies that were to you. I'd love to see their faces now when you've got 2 books.
Yeah, you've got books, you've got an album coming out.
And this.
And this boy, I remember him saying to me and my friend once in the class, he said, what do you do when you go home? Do you just stare at a wall all day? And I remember thinking, I'm going home playing guitar. I'm learning an instrument. Yeah. I was just I felt like a coward because I couldn't stand up for myself. And people made me feel like, for being quiet, that it was so bad and so unacceptable that I was worth nothing. And I have triggers now. There's trigger points for me. Like, especially in work, like if I feel like I'm in a bit of a situation or I hear people whispering, I go back to those days. I'm not quite through it yet. But I am learning to let go. The issue for me is my inner child, because like I wrote a poem to my inner child the other day because I've been going to see someone to speak about how I'm feeling, really, which is really healthy. And, she said, just write a letter to yourself. And the amount of times I've read it and just been crying because it's hard to go back there, but then I'm always there anyway. And you just never forget.
No.
Ever.
No.
And it's like you said, even though you're kind of always there, it becomes then about, right, well, let's grab the bull by the horns. If I'm going to be there, then I'm going to do it on my terms. If I've got to live in this kind of prison, then I'm going to live in my rules.
Yeah. I think that anxiety then stemmed from dreading what was going to happen the next day. Was like waiting, for someone to say something. Yeah. Like the anxiety builds and builds and builds, and it's like, oh, do I look okay? Oh no, I need to check the mirror. I need to check the mirror. I can't check the mirror because I'm in the class now. And then it just
builds up.
It builds up. And the thing is, I think it might not have been so bad, but I was bullied by one person for a year. So she ripped into me and stole everything. And she was supposed to be my friend. Like, I didn't expect it. And one day she just turned on me like that. I still don't know why. I might never know why. But I realised she wasn't my friend. Definitely not. But it's like they'd all be there in a little group and, nitpicking, saying things, like scruffing my hair up and making me feel stupid, leaning over me like as if she had the control and she knew she had the control. And then I dread it. I think, oh, come on, like, please don't be in tomorrow. And then, I remember going into the school and saying to them, look, I'm getting bullied. It was hard to do it because I kept missing school all the time because I didn't want to go in. And then when I finally asked for help, the teacher said she was going to move the class, but she didn't. She moved me, just me. And then the bully was like, why are you sitting over there? And I had to go back. And then my teacher took me out of the class and started shouting at me. And that's the last thing I needed. So I felt like I wasn't a victim anymore. I felt like, oh, don't worry anymore. So then it was miraculous that I moved up sets after that, because really I should have moved down because I don't know how I moved out to that. So I didn't see her, thankfully, for a long time. And then I had to make friends again, which was really hard. I didn't know anyone in my sets. And I was like the third year in. I did find a little group of friends then. But I just found it so difficult to socialise and keep friends because loads of them would leave. And I'd always think I was the problem. And yeah, people were just horrible. Absolutely brutal.
This piece of paper, which I don't know if the camera can see it, but there is a piece of paper here. This is something very special. I believe this is the first poem you've ever written.
Mm-hmm.
It was 12 pages.
12?
It was 12 pages. Yeah, I know, it was 12 pages initially. She's done some
I was just like, after therapy, I was just like writing everything down. Like my fingers were just like, I was like glued to the screen. I just poured my heart into it, but I thought I won't bring that. I'll just bring the shortened version.
Well, we would be honoured if you would give it a interest.
Take it away. In your own time, of course.
Right. Every day is a living nightmare. The classroom is full of wolves. They attack when I'm at my weakest, and they won't leave me alone. Existing feels so pointless when I'm outnumbered by the wolves. They gang up on me in packs, hungry and ready to devour with their conniving, destructive words. I'm sitting in class, the wolves not far away. I'm a bundle of nerves, waiting for the next time they decide to corner their prey. I can't relax, I can barely think, and all I'm focused on is getting through the day. It's too quiet. Something is bound to happen soon. The silence is almost too good to be true. Hours later, I'm tripped up, ridiculed, mocked and degraded, like I'm nothing but a lost cause, destined for failure if I'm not careful. I keep falling deeper into a pit of despair, this dark hole expanding in the centre of my chest. Does anybody care? Can't they see that I'm self-destructing and I'm not really there? This feeling of all things red is rising, choking me as I attempt to keep the wolves at bay. No matter how hard I try, they refuse to walk away, whispering my name, tearing at my skin until I simply have nothing left for them to take, and they have nothing else to gain. They've broken me in two, and I'll never be the same. Those days were torturous, but my inner child survived. Despite being alive, part of her had died. She spent most days crying over the happiness she was denied, and I'm still holding on to her now, struggling to let go of the past that haunts my heart and soul no matter where I choose to go. Although I'm much older and those days are behind me, my inner child hasn't wandered, and she's only there to remind me. Remember the wolves that stripped us bare. Yeah, the wounds are still there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that because obviously the content of it is, yeah, it's powerful stuff. Not, I really want to know what the 12-page version was like. I know,
It's really deep. It's my life in a nutshell, literally.
But no, a big thank you for that.
That'd be an episode on its own.
Well, maybe we can get you back.
But no, was that the sort of the letter that you wrote to yourself kind of thing? Then that's what you're...
Yeah, because basically, in therapy, sort of, I got really deep the last time I went, and I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And she said, think of your younger self. Like, would you say to her, "You're ugly"? And it really shocked me. Nobody's ever challenged that thought I've had before for it. And I remember thinking, I would. And she said, no, but describe your younger self now to me. And I said, well, I had a big smile, constantly smiling. I was a very happy baby, and these tight curls, and I was very hyper and just really happy. I think that was my character. And then she said, well, picture that little girl in your mind now. If she was sitting in this room, would you say she's ugly? And then I seen a picture. It's mad. I seen a picture. There's one picture as clear as day in my mind of myself. This clear photo. And I was looking at it. I thought, I wouldn't. Not to that little girl. But I think with BDD, it's like, it's hard. It haunts me. And it's like my shadow. And with anxiety, I feel like you can tackle anxiety just by stepping out of the house. And the same with body dysmorphia. Stepping out is so hard, but it's rewarding if you do. Yeah. But body dysmorphia is like, it's just so deep. It's kind of part of me now, massive part of me, and it might always be there, but I'm trying to help myself, I guess.
And I think, go on, Josh, go on. I think, like, obviously you carry that for so long from school and just kept carrying it, and you finally sort of discovered that. That must have been hard coming to that point, and actually hard realising, but then a bit of relief as well, knowing then you can deal with it. And believing in yourself is probably one of the biggest things you've done, probably.
Yeah.
If I can morph Josh's question a bit, are you glad that you found, when you Googled your kind of symptoms? Are you glad there's the fact that you've got a name to put against what you're feeling?
Yes. I mean, I've never been diagnosed, but when I seen a psychiatrist once, he did say worry dysmorphia. And, you know, I believe that's what I got, 100%. They didn't really need a diagnosis to tell me. I wish I did have that diagnosis on paper now, I think about it, but I chickened out because he basically said, like, do you really want it? And then I thought, oh, it's wrong if I have it then. So I said, no, don't worry. Kind of gutted about that. But I could always go a different time, I guess. But I think it's made me understand that what I was dealing with was much deeper than I thought. And I don't know how long I've had it, but I think I've had it for quite a long time.
Yeah. Were you, what can I say? Were you kind of, do you think it would, if you didn't Google the symptoms, would you do anything sort of different as regards to, like, I don't know, would you still be going checking the mirror? Would you still be kind of criticizing the way you look, and then when you go out in the big wild world of what you're wearing or what you're looking like, would you think differently then if you didn't know about BDD?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it was something I was struggling with. I had all the symptoms there. I think because I knew what it was, I could understand it better in the sense of what I was dealing with. But obviously, the stuff I was doing, it got more intense because I wasn't having the right support, I guess.
Yeah.
But that was partly on me as well because I didn't want to tell anyone. Like, I was going into college and, like, try my best to, like, still keep my perfect face on, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So people wouldn't suspect anything. But I just struggled to fit in with people in college as well. And I was so triggered by different things. I just couldn't cope in the environments. And, you know, it's the same as, like, I got to go on a certain side of the road. I got little routines that I do. I got to have a compact mirror on me all the time. And now I'm using my phone a lot as well, actually. So there's still a lot of stuff I've really got to unpack, I think. But I think the first step is just reaching out for help. And the first person you see might not be the right person, because I've had to go through some people who haven't understood and they made it worse.
Yeah.
But you've got to go through that to find someone who will actually listen. And there are people out there who will, and there are groups who are really helping people now, and it's incredible. I think it's absolutely incredible. And also, don't tell the wrong people, because I've done that as well, and it just fires back on you. Or they say, you know, they compare their issues with yours and say, like, oh, well, I'm dealing with this, and toughen up, or, you know, so what? There's bigger things going on.
Version of man.
The women's group. I was just about to say that.
Yes, that's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah. Did you, well, I might be wrong, were diagnosed with autism as well? Yes. Okay.
And that was quite recent, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
So dealing with that, you 26, you were diagnosed with that?
25.
25.
Yes.
So dealing with that then, at 25, knowing that you've had that since whenever, how did that feel?
I was in denial. Yeah, I only went for a diagnosis because I kept having meltdowns when I started working. And I always had this fear of, I can't work. That's before I even had a job. And then I had my first job, and I did enjoy it. It was a small setting, small amount of staff. And there were days, which were bad, but I got through it. But it was temporary. So then I had to look for a job at the end of that. Then I went into a much bigger setting, and it was just didn't cope.
Deal with it.
Yeah, too many people, and my socializing skills. Like, I'm good with eye contact, but if you notice, when I speak, I kind of like look anywhere else. I don't know, it's just something I do. And obviously, I know eye contact is essential. but it's not easy at the same time.
Good God.
And I always used to wonder why. Why is this so hard? So I wanted answers, and then it was only because I left a job. They told me I could go because I kept getting upset, and I couldn't explain to them why, which was another thing I was confused about. And I said something about I don't feel supported, but I didn't mean they weren't supporting me. I just, in myself, I couldn't cope. And they said, you can leave if you want. So I did. And I was a mess. And I thought, I'm a failure. What's wrong with me? Like, I can't cope. Why can't I cope? So then I thought, quick, I need to find another job now. Quick, fast. Like, I'm going to sink otherwise. So I found another job, and I was there for a year. Struggled immensely. Draining. And I did tell my bosses I had autism as well, so they would understand. But I got my diagnosis while I was there.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was a lot. I think I had to process everything. But I think a lot of things now make so much sense to me. Like why I always felt like an alien from another planet, or struggling with conversations, and as my mind goes blank and I'm scrambling.
Like you got answers to why you felt them that way in them situations.
Yeah. So it's been a relief, but at the same time a lot.
Yeah.
Because all this time I had it and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I think I can say as much as these two can, with all them hurdles you've had to go through in how old are you now?
27.
7. So you're still young. So you
I
haven't
remember being 27.
I hate that it's an odd number. I got a thing about odd numbers, Steve.
I don't like odd numbers, which is why I'm not 35. But I guess that just means I jumped straight to 36.
But no, you've turned out to be an incredible young lady. All them different hurdles you've come across, and this guitar poem is just incredible. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story.
It's been a pleasure.
I think you're just remarkable, absolutely remarkable. And if you can set an example, for all the young people out there who hopefully will listen and watch this episode, and gives them a boost of inspiration from you, then I think we've got it.
It just goes to show you can do whatever you want.
Yes,
As long as you put your mind to it.
exactly.
Any titles, any labels, they're not going to matter in the long run.
No, absolutely.
People are just got to see you for you.
Yeah.
And as Jordan said, in not so many words, you're a survivor. You're exceptional. We wish you nothing but the best.
Where can people find you on social media?
So I'm on I'm on everything now. I'm on Facebook. It's Bryony Sier Music. I'm on TikTok. And I did go viral.
Oh, wow.
But not for a good reason.
Oh.
I headbutted a fish tank in Phill's garden centre.
Well, if you're going to do it anywhere, do it in Phill's.
Yeah. Nobody was there, thankfully, but obviously then I wasn't expecting the video to go viral. Like, in 10 minutes, I asked my brother, I was like, is this okay? He said, go for it. I didn't know it was going to be like that. So, yeah.
So that won't be on your screens around about now.
No, we're not going to fight that in front of that.
But yeah,
but you're on Instagram as well. You've got 2 accounts on Instagram. You're one for the box, one for the music.
I know, it's maintaining them now. Social media is a job, really, because, you know, I've got TikTok mad for my books, because I'm trying to my best to promote them. I'm doing memes now. I love memes. My TikTok's a meme central, and I love it.
Have you thought about headbutting a book in Phill's Garden Centre to try and see if that gets some traction?
I mean, maybe one day.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, like the lad said, thank you very, very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
As we said, we're really, really appreciative. And we wish you all the best going forward.
But before we go,
well,
let's thank our sponsors first.
Yeah.
So thank you to
to Whitehead-Ross Education, and to Phill Hanlon, who's a transformation coach.
Great stuff.
Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you to the Iron Dragon again as well for letting us use this venue. Again, thank you so much for your support. Everyone who's been watching, listening, interacting with our Facebook and Instagram accounts, and on YouTube as well. If you can, please like you have been doing already, but subscribe, share, comment, rate anything.
Do it all.
Just
do it all. Just do it all. And then do the same for Brian as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we're a little bit of a
album's coming out soon.
Yes. A bit of a different ending we've got this week, haven't we?
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to leave you with the music of Bryony Sier, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Bye for now.
Diagnosis at 26 and found out that I'm autistic. Still trying to process what this means to me. My social skills are effective, but I'm so good at camouflaging. A master of constant disguising. In the middle of the night, I can't sleep. My brain won't let me. Mental health is not my friend. Keeps me awake and out of bed, running through the woods, followed by a wolf. Running through the woods, feel misunderstood. The wolf is on the hunt. Catch me if you can. Running through the woods, followed by the wolves. My autism is still unclear. Never knew what I really was dealing with. Now I'm learning I'm designed with a different frame of mind. It's part of my identity, who I was always meant to be. In the middle of the night, I can't sleep. My brain won't let me. Mental health is not my friend. Keeps me awake and out of bed, running through the woods, followed by the wolf. Running through the woods, feel misunderstood. The wolf is on the hunt. Catch me if you can. Running through the woods, followed by the wolves. I was hiding in the shadows, now I'm crying out of water. I hate changes, eye contact, conversations drain me real fast. There's a human hard one, it's to reach someone who feels the way I do, the way I do. In the middle of the night, I can't sleep. My brain won't let me. Running through the woods, followed by the wolf. Running through the woods, feel misunderstood. The wolf is on the hunt. Catch me if you can.